weight. That's what we're talking about today. But we're talking about a specific type of weight that you probably never heard of. Have you ever heard of cerrobend? Well, we're going to be talking about this and what's the best use for it in this episode of Psycho for Tycho.
From Tycho, of course.
Alright, first of all, I think this is going to be the camera angle I'm going to work with from now on. I've got my camera set overhead. One of the things I've always had problems with making these videos is where do I set up the tripod? Where do I set up the camera? What's the best angle? We're going to try this one this time around and see if this works. So like I said in the opening, we're going to be talking about weight. Now, first of all, I want to show you my budget Gunderson. I finally was able to find some end detail parts. So I went ahead and I did the correct Gunderson type clone end. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. And the reason I pulled out this boxcar is because when you're using pig iron weights and stuff like that, the cars are still very light. It's easy enough to just add weight by getting like stick-on tire weights or pennies or nuts and bolts. But what if you have a car like this Riverossi passenger car, and I've already done some weight adding in here, which we're going to talk about how we did that. But what if you want to pass your car where you want to build an interior and you pick this up at a swap meet for like $1, $1.25. They just kind of threw it in the parts box or something like that. And it has no weight. But you want to put an interior in. Well, tire weights, yeah, you could use those and you could raise up the seats and all that. But this one doesn't really kind of set up too well. What if you could have a weight that you could stick in hidden parts, even like a flat car? Well, that's what this is. This is called cerrobend. So what is cerrobend? Well, cerrobend is a very malleable, lead-like weight. You can usually buy these on Amazon. I think they're labeled now as cerrosafe, whatever that means. You can get a good pound of this for like $30, and as you can see from this little 1 pound ingot that I've got, and yeah, this is a 1 pound ingot, I do tend to use it on occasion. Now, just showing off here in the AHM car or Riverossi car, they're both the same. I've already put some cerrobend in here, and I actually did a earlier video of this, but like I said, the camera angle was crap, so I'm trying it with this camera angle. So I'm going to try a few different ways of doing this while I show it to you live. I'm breaking out my foam cradle here so that I can double check on angles. So cerrobend is what's called malable, and if you don't know what malable is, malable is like a flexible metal. And the other cool thing about cerrobend is it has a really low melting temperature. Now, you all seen my soldering iron. It's just a single temperature, super hot, freaking Harbor Freight soldering iron, which I think does the job adequately. And so we're going to try and add a little more weight in here. And I got my phone to my side so I can kind of see if this works. As far as angles go, I think this will work just as is. And I'm zooming in a little bit here, just to show you what it does. But like I said, it's low melting temperature. And there you go. It just drops right on in. And if I make a mistake, I can usually get an X-Acto knife, but I've got this hairnail clip that might work. Yep, there we go. It cools off rather quick. And there's little pieces of piping and stuff like that in here. There we go. And as you see right there, it cools off so quickly that it does not melt the plastic whatsoever. And all you gotta do with cerrobend is you run your soldering iron, you just kind of scrape your soldering iron over it. Maybe about, leave the cerrobend up for about an inch or so, and just let it drip into your crevices. It's that simple. And it'll drop into your, if you got set right, or you got staged right, if you got it hanging over right, I guess, it'll drop in and cool off rather quickly. This is still a little bit liquidy. And this stuff is dense too. So it is a rather heavy soft metal. So you don't need to use a lot to add a lot of weight. Let's see if we can get a side view of this. So once again, I'm going to drop some more. You can see how quickly it melts. It's almost like solder in a way. How quickly it melts. I wouldn't recommend this for solder though, because I don't think it's very conductive. So this is going to be another one of those projects I'm going to put in as far as budgetary designs. Right. I just needed to focus. There we go. But there you go. See, it fits in the crevices real nice. So when you're showing it, it's, you know, not going to be visible and all that. And it, yeah, it just has enough to where it'll stick. Ooh, that's the first time I've ever seen it melt. There's a little melting damage on this end, but it's barely noticeable. It's probably because I dropped it too close. But just this little bit here and this little bit here, I now literally have the heft to where I've got the weight for my car. That's going to be good enough, and I've got the room to go ahead and put in an interior here without really any obstruction. And I didn't have to go looking on eBay for, you know, a big metal weight to go across here. So cerrobend is a great way of adding weight. There we go. Cerrobend's a great way of adding weight without using up a lot of space. So if you need to like add weight to, say, a flat car or a gondola or something like that, where you want to leave the gondola open but it's too light, this is a great way of, you know, filling in those little cracks and crevices without much loss of detail. So there we have it, friends. Cerrobend. And I've got a link to a pound of the what's called cerrosafe. Give it a try. See what you can do with it. And, you know, this isn't just normal for, say, like regular applications of model railroading. Like when I was a kid, when I had all those old monogram models and such, you know, you have like the P39 or the B25 with the tricycle landing gear, and always the, you know, the back end would make it pop a wheelie. You know, this stuff is great to fit into a small spot, keep your aircraft detail great, and put the nose down. So yeah, cerrobend, a great way of adding weight without much sacrifice on space. And yes, I'm taking the scraps and I'm melting them right back into the cerrobend. It's malleable, it's sticky, it doesn't damage detail unless you got it too close to the detail like I did. But yeah, there you have it. So I am psycho for cerrobend. Hey friends, I know you're at the end of the video and all that, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out that if you're in Carson City or any of the surrounding neighborhoods, come on down to Mills Park where the Carson City Railroad Association, my model railroad club, happens to be at. We've got both HO scale and N scale. We run modular displays. We also have, during the summer months, a 2-foot tourist railroad that kind of goes around half the park. Membership fee is about $35. If you want to run some trains, come on down. Just let us know. Link in the description, and the link is right here at the bottom. And have a good one. I'm Psycho for Tycho. We'll see you next time.